Fighting, the sweet science, the martial art. Depending on what country you're from or what country you embrace, there's many ways you can learn it. From Japan, Ireland, Brazil, America, they've always been great fighters coming from different countries. But one country in particular is doling out some of the best, most entertaining, and dominating fighters in the world. And we're gonna talk about it on Cause and Effect, Season 2. You know, the UFC was in some serious need of some star power for a long time. At one point, the company boasted some of the biggest and most unique stars in all of sports. Now, just to be clear, I'm far from an expert in mixed martial arts. As more of I am a fan of just seeing people get knocked the fuck out, I do know stars when I see them. At one point, the UFC boasted people like Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, John Bones Jones, you name it, they had it. But whether it be going to find greener pastures, taking their first L, or extracurricular activities, they all kind of fell by the wayside and things didn't really go as planned. However, there's one country in particular making more stars for the sport than ever. That's my native land of Nigeria, baby. Now, Nigerians are far from being strangers to the spotlight. We've recently had an NBA MVP. You have elite singers, actors, and actresses. But when it comes to the green, mixed martial arts is where Nigeria is slowly taking over. Much like Brazil before them, Nigeria seems to be the next hotbed of mixed martial arts talent. Currently in the organization, Nigerian fighters have a combined record of 21-1 within the entire organization. Let's meet some of them. There's the upstart, Sadiq Youssef. With a record of 10-1, the featherweight knocked out 2 of his first 3 fighters in the UFC. Kamaru Usman, one of the most powerful wrestlers in the UFC, he is currently on a 10-fight win streak and the UFC welterweight champion of the world. After defeating Tyron Woodley earlier this year, his upcoming fight against Colby Covington was one of the most anticipated fights of the year and likely a setup for a super fight involving the winner of Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. And then there's the UFC's shiniest new toy, Israel Stylebender Adesanya. Not only has this combination of shit talk, showmanship, and skills made him immediately popular within MMA circles, after becoming the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, he's made so much noise, fans truly believe he could take on and eventually end the mystique of the light heavyweight champion of the world, John Jones, despite being in a different weight class. Now, the success of Nigerian fighters is great, and that's one thing, but it's all part of the larger picture. And that is eventually the first ever event of the UFC to take place in Africa. Now, mixed martial arts is already pretty popular in the continent. The EFC, known as the Extreme Fighting Championship, was established on November 12, 2009. And since then, there's been 81 events that have taken place within South Africa. And Dana White has already gone on record and saying that he can and eventually will put on a UFC event in Africa. And just like current undisputed middleweight champion Israel Adesanya says, once all the Nigerians pull up, it's gonna be over for a lot of years in the MMA. And he ain't lying. My name is Kaz, and this is Cause and Effect.